शुभङ्करि शापविमोचनि शोकविनाशिनि शास्त्रहिते शिवसहिते शिवशम्भु शुभङ्करि शुम्भरि शुम्भपदासते सकलमनोहरि सुन्दरि सर्ववशङ्करि शङ्करतोषकृते जय परमेश्वरि नित्यसुमङ्गलि नित्यनितेश्वरि पालय कटाक्षिः सूक्ष्मविलेक्षणि काङ्क्षित साक्षिः सर्वविदे शुभजन शाश्वत मानस भावित कामित याचित पूर्णकृते सुकर सुखीकृत दुष्कर नाश कृते जननिन्दित क्रोध कृते जय परमेश्वरि नित्य सुमङ्गलि नित्य नितेश्वरि पालय शक्तियुते अजिते शुभवरदे विभवे विमले कमले कमलाम्बुजपादयुते करकमले करुणानिलये कमलाक्षयुते करशूलधृते जय परमेश्वरि नित्य सुमङ्गलि नित्य नितेश्वरि पालय सहित स्मरणस्तर सुष्वरनाद मे हृदये शिव शिव शब्दनिनाद मृदङ्ग श्रुते कुरु नृत्य ममाधिपते शिव नटराज समेत हिताण्डवलास्य कृते शिव हर्ष कृते जय परमेश्वरि नित्य सुमङ्गलि नित्य नितेश्वरि पालय
The powers want to experience Kailasa. Hold my hand and come along with me. It means sit with integrity and listen and come along with me. I'll take you to Kailasa now.
Understand, program starts but never ends, and it is never the same again. It is actually not a program, it's a lifestyle initiation. It is just upgrading your consciousness, your being. Bring intense sincerity, sincere intensity into this program. Instead of sitting with your depressions, sit with me, Paramashivam. I welcome all of you to register by going to paramashivam.org, and even if you have attended already any program, please go through once more intensely, sincerely, because it is going to be absolutely new and different level. I commit with you all. I will initiate all of you, bless you all with the Shakti Pada, Shakti Nipada, and Paramashiva myself will manifest the state, space, powers, being, super consciousness and Kailasa of Paramashiva in all of us.
Life hacks to eliminate your suffering. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, has in every single one of his YouTube videos gives so many life solutions for eliminating pain and suffering in our lives. Today we're going to be exploring 3 beautiful life hacks that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself has shared on how you can literally remove the root of suffering from your very everyday life. And we get to see today one of the techniques that is used by practicing Hindus all over the world since time immemorial, that is there Bhagavad Gita on how to eliminate suffering from your life. With this, Paramasukhadam Atitam Gagana Sadrisham Tatvamaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. So we have so many solutions for how to remove the root of suffering in our lives, and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has beautifully shared so many, and we have been seeing that just by the way that he teaches us to cognize what we are, what our minds are, how we can cognize our life, or just bringing to the surface, to the truth of who we are in our lives. Once he shows the nonsensical ways we go in loops in following back with our suffering, we follow up with our suffering more than we follow up with anything else in our lives. And when we find the way that we are doing these and having the tendency to go back again, back to our suffering, and when we see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism come and share just the way we just do these nonsensical loops in our own minds, just by bringing it to the surface, by bringing it to our awareness, we see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been able to heal us. And this is something that we find as we go on into the KAILASA's SPH YouTube channel, endlessly going off one video over the other and seeing how one by one every video itself is an initiation. And that's something that we're going to be learning about today. What is an initiation, and what is it? And a beautiful way the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism says about initiation is that he says when you click with something, and we'll be learning about what exactly this click means, and we'll also be sharing with you about the details of the Paramashivam program that is going on right now, and how you can get involved and immediately do the beautiful meditations and the introspective processes that help you heal from your past wounds and literally come out of suffering. And actually, how one of the most beautiful things that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares as from the revival of Hinduism itself, shares that taking the sufferings, transforming them into powers, taking the patterns and transforming them into powers. And this is the cognitive shift or the paradigm shift that we see many people experience in the Paramashivam program. So without further ado, let's take a look, and welcoming everyone in the comment section. Nithyanandam to all of you. Yes, we are an interactive session that we get to see more about how, and we have a Vakyartha Sadas with everyone, where we share our manana about how to live these powerful cognitions that we receive in our lives. That is the Vakyartha Sadas, the Jivartha Sadas that we are going to be having today. So encouraging everyone who is watching the live to go to the comment section, share your thoughts, and whatever it is that you may have any questions about on how to implement these into your life, into your day-to-day life, especially the powerful truths that you are experiencing. Even if you're having a click and having a powerful cognition happen to you, share it and share how it has helped you in coming out of whatever you got stuck in. So without further ado, let's watch the first clip that we have on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism sharing about the nature of the mind and the way that it goes on using right knowledge also for wrong reasons. So let us take a look.
So many times you may have
I have seen
some desire, some guilt, some pain,
people coming to me for healing.
which you are not.
After 2 days they will come. There will be few people, they will come with so much of joy. They will say, oh God, Swamiji, 50% disease has disappeared. I am surprised. How can this happen just by a touch? They will be in ecstasy, jumping. There are few people who come and tell, Still 50% not healed, Swamiji. The deep suffering, sorrow, they don't, then when I ask them, how long this disease is there? They say it's there for 20 years. They don't even understand, which was there 20 years, melted down more than 50% within 2 days. They have wrong comprehension, unable to see what is happening. Mind can make anything out of anything. See, both are helped 50%. One guy is in ecstasy. God, I am helped. So much has happened. 50% got healed. The other guy is not even able to feel or enjoy that 50% he got healed. So this is the usual mind. You can comprehend anything out of anything. Any situation can be experienced as any situation. Here, Patanjali says, these 5 modifications: right knowledge, wrong knowledge, imagination, sleep, and memory. These 5 can be the reasons for your pleasure or pain, for your anguish or joy, for your peace or restlessness. You can use these 5 towards anything. Sometimes people ask me, how can right knowledge be the reason for suffering, Swamiji? How can we use right knowledge for suffering? Here Patanjali says all these 5 can be reason for suffering or joy. Please understand, many times I have seen people creating guilt out of right knowledge. I told you a story a few days before. People understand an enlightened person should be very calm, cool, collective, balanced. This is a kind of a right knowledge. But they use that knowledge and start creating guilt, expectations, difficulties inside them. Even right knowledge in the wrong hands can create suffering, can create difficulties. I have seen people having some idea about how life should be, this, that. Actually, if you see, it will be right knowledge, just like this situation. I was telling you a story, one Zen master crying when his master died. We have an idea, enlightened person should not cry. He is supposed to be balanced. It's a kind of a right knowledge only. But when you apply, misunderstand, misuse, it can create agony inside you. You can use that same idea to create guilt in you, or questions in you, doubt in you. Even right knowledge in the hands of wrong person can create suffering. Of course, wrong knowledge always creates suffering. People ask me. One more question. Patanjali says here, all these 5 can create right, can create joy or suffering. How can wrong knowledge create joy? Can create suffering, we know. How can wrong knowledge create joy? Sometimes, accidentally, even wrong knowledge leads you to joy. Even wrong knowledge leads you to next level, next step. I have seen many instances. They may not know the reason, the right reason but they do the right act without knowing right reason, without having the knowledge about right reason, but doing the right act. That kind of situations, even wrong knowledge leads you to joy. Wrong knowledge leads you to pleasure. Actually, what really needs to happen inside us is a cognitive shift. Means your comprehension should be illumined. Straight away able to relate with the truth without difficulties, complications, torturing. Straight away ability to relate with the truth. I have seen many times in my experience, people can neither resist the joy and ecstasy of being in my presence, but nor they can drop their arrogance, nor they can come out of their ego. They continue to come and continue to criticize something. I tell them, if you are feeling like criticizing, don't come, relax, be where you are. They are not able to, no. That we can't do. They will continue to come, but continue to criticize something. They can neither keep themselves away, nor completely able to surrender or relax. Means the wrong comprehension. The cognitive shift has not happened. Here, Patanjali emphasizes on cognitive shift. Let us understand all these 5 modifications: right knowledge, wrong knowledge, imagination, sleep and memory. Yesterday we understood right knowledge and wrong knowledge. Today we will enter into imagination. Imagination, same way, can lead you to joy or pain, suffering or ecstasy. See, almost all meditation techniques are based on imagination, except very few techniques. The clicks, what I call initiations, except the initiations directly from the master, all other techniques use imagination. For example, the unclutching, the science of unclutching, or the first technique which Patanjali spoke. Your mind is not a thing, it is an action, stop. This is not using your imagination. This is a straight initiation. Straight initiation, straight click. Except this kind of initiations, this kind of clicks, all other techniques are using your imagination. When the imagination is used to lead to pleasure, to make you experience ecstasy, it is called meditation. The same imagination is used to lead you into suffering, it is called mind. There are only 2 things. Either your mind can continuously condition you, or it can continuously liberate you. Your imagination can either go this way or that way. It cannot stand still. It cannot stand still. We need to understand this one fact. We always think, I may not be progressing spiritually, but I am stuck somewhere where I am. No. Either you progress or you are going down. There is no such thing as stuck. Please be very clear. There is no such thing as stuck.
Yes, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is sharing beautifully how we can use our imagination to create something that he is saying is the mind that puts us back into our suffering and depressive thought currents, or we can use the imagination to really push through and really live a life positive manner and put us in joy and ecstasy constantly. And we have beautifully the sadas going on, the discussion going on in the comments, and James Beckham, Nithyanandam, welcome, and others are also there, Maria Nithyanandam and Siri, love these interactive sessions. Yes, beautiful. It's a beautiful way the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is providing for us a beautiful digital platform for us to do our spiritual seeking, get to know more, and also share our experiences. So beautifully, there's a question also, how can wrong knowledge take you to the right place? What is he meaning by this? So wrong knowledge, the way that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is sharing in this particular clip, is what you are going to, what knowledge you're going to acquire from a situation that is present in front of you, and that what are you going to take from that, whether it's going to be factually accurate or not, you leave aside, but what is it that you're grasping? He gave the example of the Zen master whose master himself is passed away, and the Zen master is crying and suffering. You can take the knowledge from that as a justification that, okay, we can also suffer. Or you can take the other knowledge from it, or not, put yourself in a second person and think, yes, that is the situation where that Zen master is experiencing this. So that way we're using the knowledge in the way to have a correct understanding for ourselves, and that's the way we even see all of our past. The next clip that we're going to see is about our memories and how we should stop accessing our memories like and trying to squeeze life out of them, rather have them inside of us, how we should have. That's the next clip that we're going to see. I think more clarity will come for your question if you just stay on for the next question. So another question, what does it mean all meditation techniques are just imagination? Aren't there specific techniques on how you breathe and move your body? Yes, yogic practices are there, and of course inside the yogic practices you can also bend. You have to have the visualization, which is a big part of the Nithyananda yoga that we do every day in the Paramashivam program. Actually, the way that you breathe in air, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, when it comes to yoga, tells us that just through the imagination of visualizing yourself as a particular shape of the body or experience of how you want to be, and then breathe in and out and do the pranayama techniques, you can literally become that or manifest the qualities of such a being. So in that way, the yoga and techniques and breathing are there for here, and then yes, your meditation does use the mind to be able to heal itself, to be able to come out of the unclutching. The technique of unclutching is used to come out of the way, so it is there. But ultimately, one more beautiful thing that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares about the technique is that it should also be unclutched from. One of the ways that we do in the processes in the Paramashivam program is, yes, we get attached to the imagination, or the unclutching technique becomes the ultimate, but he gives a beautiful example of a funeral pyre. When you light a funeral pyre, you use one stick to light the whole funeral pyre, and finally at the end you throw that stick in as well. And the same way, unclutching from unclutching itself is one of the ways to go beyond the technique of unclutching itself. In this way, meditation techniques are useful, but ultimately they are there to make our whole life into a meditation, to make consciousness grow and manifest inside of us powerfully, such that our whole life becomes a meditation. So they do improve us and move us in raising our consciousness. And what is a subtle body? Akul Sadananda is asking. I believe in the satsang that Swamiji said that there is a subtle body. There are layers to ourselves that are known as the koshas, or different parts, and the energy centers that are there in the yogic scriptures are also there. They are called as chakras. So the subtle body is subtle body is a little inner part of us, that is the sheaths of the pranamaya kosha, the mind sheath, or the consciousness sheath. These are there inside of us, and these are the subtle layers of ourselves. So these are also bodies in themselves. So the way beautifully the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism gives an example of how to demonstrate is he takes a wall and he says the circle and draws circles on it, and he says the circles are the layers of your bodies, and the innermost is consciousness, but consciousness is actually the wall itself. So consciousness pervades all of these, but this just the differentiation in the circles. So that is the way you can understand the subtle bodies. And Maria is asking, how do I identify if I'm doing unclutching or completion? Actually, this is a beautiful technique. And back in one of the powerful Shivaratri satsangs, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism gave out this very difference and started teaching about completion. When it comes to unclutching, and when you find the source of who it is or who am I, and the identity that you understand, and you cognize yourself as that identity, and then you unclutch from that, that is the process of completion. And where you feel the I exists, where the identity is coming from that identity, when you start practicing the unclutching, then the process of completion. So that is the subtle difference. But of course, just continuously being in the space of nirvikalpa samadhi will also bring us a deep completion inside us, and doing the process of completion every day in the night, sitting with whatever you had interacted with the whole day, and completing with everything that you did, and restoring your integrity or restoring your words. That's also a powerful place, a way to put ourselves back in the space of unclutching as well. So this is how they are mutually beneficial to really really benefit us and help us grow in our lives. So of course, when it comes to one of the things that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shared is initiation. This is the clip where he talked about the click, where out of nowhere you have a powerful understanding. This is how, what happens when a guru happens in your life. Suddenly your life is flooded with so much of consciousness, so much of awareness about everything. And beautifully, if you have even seen this clip, how people use the mind and always take pessimistic or negative results about life and put themselves again and again back into suffering. So this is a way that we see ourselves using and acquiring wrong knowledge and holding on to it more. So this is the way, or one of the life hacks that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares about how to literally use the facets that we have inside of us to put ourselves back into the knowledge of knowing we are consciousness. In that way, just removing the suffering in our lives. Many of the times, somebody who comes for any healing, as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares, somebody comes, takes a healing, and as 50% of the disease that they were going through is cured. But unfortunately, they just sit with the criticisms and think, oh, another 50% is still there, I'm still going to suffer, oh no, and go back into the mindset. The thing is, the Supreme Pontiff beautifully shared in this clip, it's about how you comprehend. It's about how you decide to have the cognitive shift that healing is possible. Let's celebrate that. The rest of the 50% can be healed just like that. And always the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism says we need to really understand how many of the illnesses or the chronic pain we have are really psychosomatic, and how we can just come out of them if we just have a beautiful shift. And that is the science of healing and the initiation that happens when we have the guru in our lives, when we have the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's healing blessings. So another clip where there's another life hack, particularly about how to handle our past. How do we even approach it? Or it is so overbearing and it's not letting me be creative in my life. Things that people suffer from, where they feel extremely bored in life. And this is the life hack to overcome all boredom. So let's take a look at this clip.
You fill your whole hard drive with these memories. You go round in the same track. Morning, from the moment you get up till the moment you go to the bed. Except this two thought, nothing else will be there. Wherever you go, you come back to the same two thoughts. Same 2-3 thoughts. Nothing else. And anybody who touches that 2-3 thought, immediately you feel you are hurt. You are hurt, immediately you are hurt. And that is what is called by the word emotional weakness. See, for example, all will be sitting and chatting. You will be making a very simple statement, very casual statement, but suddenly that particular person gets hurt by that statement. If I say one word about smoking, everybody will be enjoying, laughing, but the guy who is not able to stop smoking, he feels he is hurt. Immediately he starts feeling disturbed and he thinks the whole discourse is aimed at him. The whole thing is directed towards him. I think from the first day everyone feels one-on-one conversation is going on. One-on-one conversation is going on.
Photographs related to good memories? Associated
There is no such thing as good memory or bad memory.
What made us feel happy?
Just
at that time?
throw away everything. What made you feel happy, even that when you try to hold, it will become misery. That is what I say, don't possess Nithyananda. When you try to possess that memory, you will start squeezing it. You will suffocate that photographs, they will run away. You will suffocate that memories, they will run away. If you just continuously try to stare around somebody 24 hours, and simply that man will be fed up, get fed up. See, the idea of beauty exists as long as you don't live together. Idea of beauty exists as long as you play the game from distance. You play the game from distance. With ordinary people, the more they go close to them, more the problem. More they drift away, more they get detached. Anyhow, your memory, the emotional attachment to memory that is the main reason for memory loss. If you feel that your memory is not sharp, you don't have sharp memory, you have memory loss problem, erase the old files, high resolution picture files. You will have enough space to store the things. You have so many nonsensical, irrational, unnecessary, high resolution photographs in your hard drive. That is why it is so hard to drive. That is why it is so hard to drive. When your hard drive is filled, it is really hard to drive your life. That is why instead of driving, you are pulling your life. There are two kinds of living: driving your life and pulling your life. We are all pulling. We have reduced ourselves to bullock cart state. If you have become a tractor, means you start driving your life. If you have become a no-mind being, the memoryless person, you start flying as a helicopter, as an aircraft. If you are an aircraft, if you are a helicopter, from there you can access to any memory at any time. Because it's like operating from satellite.
Random access.
Random access. Operating from satellite. You can play any dimension at any moment. One moment you can be a God giving boons And exactly when your body language will act like a god, next moment you will be just a small boy, a mere boy, child, playing. Exactly your whole body language, not only the words, even your body language will show you are a boy, mere child. Even every finger, every inch of your body will react that same memory. You will feel as if he has literally became a child, became a kid. The random access. You can enter into any memory and play with it. That is what Ramakrishna calls Bhava Samadhi state. Means beyond the bhavanas, you can have access to any bhavana. He suddenly enters into the Devi Bhava and you can see almost he's a Devi. You can't imagine he's a man. The next moment he becomes a Krishna. You can't imagine he's a 50 years old man. And the disciples, they write a reminiscence. A 50-year-old man jumping and dancing, how ugly it will look usually. And when Ramakrishna dances, they say such wonderful grace will ooze out of him. You can see a total innocent child. Because simply enters into that bhava. And everything else speaks the same bhava. Everything else speaks the same bhava. Somebody was telling me, Swamiji, even your hairs act different way. Even your hair behave in a different way with your different moods. Not only the hair whole, even your pores will act in a different way. Because you will have the total access to anything. You can download anything. If your hard drive is filled with high resolution scanned pictures, you will not be able to download the whole. So you are half here, half there, half everywhere. Wherever you go, you are half. Living with high resolution pictures is what I call living with logic, living with intellect, living with ego, living on a same track, living without the excitement, living with suffering, living with dukkha, living with boredom. All these things are one and the same. High resolution pictures in your hard drive. That's all. That is why you feel life is boredom. Except human being, no animal feels life is a boredom. It is just your memories, memory association. Because of your memory association, too many high resolution pictures in your hard drive, the idea wonderful universe disappears from you. Things look very flat. Very flat. You say, what is this universe? If you ask a question, you always ask, what is this universe? You always ask, what is this universe? Means what? Out of frustration. Out of frustration you ask, what is this world? What is this universe? She is asking, what is this wonderful universe? The whole attitude is different. Arjuna is asking, what kind of society it is? What kind of humanity it is? I have to kill my own relations. His question is totally from memory, emotional attachment. His question is from the high resolution scanned files. The moment he stood in front of the whole group, all the childhood memories came up. the Bhishma, the grandfather who took care of him, the Dronacharya who taught him how to hold the bow and arrow, the Kripacharya who took care of him, and all the brothers. So much of emotional memories. All those high resolution pictures are trying to enter at a time. So if you try to download the whole thing at a time, what happens? Computer crashes. That is what is Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Arjuna's Vishada is nothing but a computer crash. So much of emotional memories coming up, he is not able to bear. His question is totally from different angle. Now this Devi is asking the same thing from different angle. What is this wonderful universe? What is this wonderful universe?
Wonderful universe and
Wonderful universe, wonder-filled universe. When you say wonderful universe, the emphasis is again on you. You feel it as wonderful. When you say it is wonder-filled, emphasis is on what is. It is too much. Wonder-filled. Not even wonderful. Wonder-filled. Overflowing. She says wonder-filled universe. Overflowing. She must have been in the ecstasy. That is why she is asking, oh Shiva, what is your reality? She must have seen the Vishwarupa or multi-dimensions of him. That is why she is asking, what is your reality?
भारकृते जनपालित शासित भूमि पवित्र कृते युग युग शम्भविते च कलौ नित्यानन्द रूप शरीर कृते परम शिवेश्वरि नित्य महेश्वरि नित्य कलामयि नित्यनुते परम शिवेश्वरि नित्य महेश्वरि नित्य कलामयि नित्यनुते जय परमेश्वरि नित्य सुमङ्गलि नित्यनुतेश्वरि पालय माम् जय परमेश्वरि नित्य सुमङ्गलि नित्यनुतेश्वरि पालय माम्
Yes, that was such a wonderful clip to see the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shed the light on how we should attend to our past. One important fact that we have to share is Swamiji is addressing Devi in this. Actually, this particular video is from the Shiva Sutras, the first aphorisms and techniques that Paramashiva gave to Devi as his first disciple. And this is one of the first talks on Shiva Sutras, where Devi is asking, as he said, what is this wonder-filled universe? And this is from specifically the sutra known as the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra, which is one of the core scriptures in Tantra and Hinduism. And studying it, we can learn so many of the techniques that Paramashiva gives for coming out of our suffering. And the way you even attend to your past is the way that Swamiji is addressing the difference even between how Arjuna connected with his past and how Devi is connecting with her past. And you can see some of the questions that beautifully people are discussing in the chat. Any specific guidance to know if I'm doing a right decision? Is the bliss or joy that determines if I'm left in memories? Anton Johnson, yes, thank you for joining the conversation. Nithyanandam, I think the clarity, that is what Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shared, that once you have your hard disk is so full of high resolution pictures, your memories are so emotionally, you cling to them and you go and brood behind them over and over, such that there's such a high resolution that it occupies your whole ability to even foresee a future for yourself, or foresee or even plan for now, because they do so much of making you feel like you are not even able to move an inch in your life. And that is the way that if you have such thick, and the conversation is going on, Nityanandam, Jnanamaya, Priya, Nanda, you're also addressing that the thick dirty lenses that we see the life through also make us not be able to have peace and have suffering in the present moment. But yeah, cleaning the lens is one thing is there, but I think the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's techniques is just changing the camera, updating the whole way that you see the whole world, how you can really make the whole past not redundant, but the way the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism also gives an analogy is just reducing those high resolution pictures to simple Word documents that don't take so much space, but they have a history that need to be there, that knowledge needs to be there about the past, just needs to be converted into understanding it the right way, in a powerful way, and taking strength from the past that we have. So this is the way the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism helps us heal, especially in the Paramashivam program. There it is where we literally sit with ourselves and do these processes of literally seeing the lens which we have loaded our whole past with, and literally doing the work of reducing those high resolution memories into documents that can just be accessed easily, read and then put back. That's the way, and so that even helps us have the clarity of foresight to be able to see and be excited about what we're doing. If you see the way that Swamiji is giving the example of Devi able to see the wonder-filled universe. Do you see the universe right now as wonder-filled if you're in suffering? No, it's not like that, but she is able to see because she's in such a beautiful space of oneness with Paramashiva. In that moment when she's addressing him and asking him the doubts that she has, she's in some beautiful state of a disciple, of one who's receiving, who's a beautiful empty vessel to receive, and is mesmerized by the world and celebrating the world around it. And even to have that present moment joy, the load of the past cannot be there. When it comes to Sri Arjuna, who's in the Mahabharata, in the Bhagavad Gita, you see that he's just, his shoulders, he literally says that the Gandiva, the bow is the shoulders feel heavy and the bow is slipping from my hands. And like this, he sees the weight of the past. You can see the very beautiful difference that the Devi is giving, to see the world as wonderful. And Swamiji always gives the best way possible. Yes, yes, and people are also saying, Nithyanandam, the moment one realizes it is misinformation or wrong knowledge, one moves away from that, and that carries the same aroma. Yeah, actually, the way the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism tells one of the examples is, if you're walking on the road and you see a puddle, you will naturally walk around it. The fact is that we're not seeing the puddles. We're not seeing how we're misinforming ourselves that our past is pain or suffering is a real thing in our life. And the way he amazingly tells us is, pain is a lie, suffering is a lie. It's just something that we continuously bring back to ourselves to justify why something is happening, not to take what's happening right now empower ourselves and to move forward. That kind of clarity is something that we need to work on, and both the powerful processes of completion, unclutching, and all of these techniques are available to those who do the Paramashivam program. Program is like where you sit with yourself and really spend that time with yourself. You never give an appointment to yourself. But the Paramashivam program is that beautiful Vatavarana, that ecosystem where you can sit with yourself with a group of others also in the same Zoom room and interact and try to get and heal yourself and get to know how others are doing, similar to how many of us are also sharing here, that people are having a little bit more understanding and clarity after seeing about what Swamiji is sharing, and seeing how Swamiji is directly addressing each and every one of the things that we may be going on, or we may be seeing someone else in our lives going on. So is it possible to change you by addressing your past? Could you also change physical objects this way? The going back and changing the past, that is a beautiful even process, and something that is there inside the Paramashivam program that is explored in a very detailed way. So yes, those possibilities can be approached. It is something that we have to do look into, but the clarity is what we're looking into now. Once we have the clarity of the past, we won't even want to go back and change anything. That's the healing that we want. The healing that we want is to be able to be empowered by everything that happens and everything that happened to us in the past, and that way we can move forward and really build a life and create something beautiful for ourselves in the future. And that's the way that we are empowered by our past. So learning how to drop the weight and the load of the past, but see it as a celebration of what Paramashiva has given us and as a blessing for us. And beautifully, the one of the sessions today that is going on is known as soft suffering, something where you don't really have a problem, but you're little suffering on it. And this is what is even given to you if you see how you can be a practicing Hindu about this, involving the concept of a deity or a higher intelligence in your life. That is the way we connect to Paramashiva also as a deity or a being in our lives who is constantly teaching us, or an energy around us that is teaching us in our lives. So we even feel sometimes that this suffering that we carry, where we will feel that yes, we have to move towards enlightenment, we need to be more coming out of the suffering. We shouldn't be so depressed and not discontent all the time. We want to move forward. Please let me pray that it happens fast. Let it happen at an accelerated rate. In this seeking kind of prayer to come out of the suffering, that itself is what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism addresses as soft suffering, and that is actually a boon in itself, to have these thoughts that move us forward, that keep us in a receptive powerful prayer that really moves us forward, that brings us out of our suffering and keeps us going in our seeking. And this is the way we connect with Cosmos as really whole hand holding us through our whole life. And that is actually one of the next clips that we're going to be watching, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares about Mahadeva's love. It's a beautiful talk from the Upanishads, where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares how he's there very much inside of us, and how he brings out the Mahadeva inside us, how he brings out the Paramashiva, the experience of oneness inside of us. And yeah, so we can take a look at this clip, and this is beautifully from the Bhagavad Gita. A verse is quoted, and this verse is, if you all have your Bhagavad Gita with you, maybe you can share which verse exactly is it. If you can find put in the comments which verse from the second chapter. Okay, there's a hint. This is from the second chapter. Which verse from the second chapter is Swamiji talking about in this clip? And of course, the clip is a very powerful technique, and the most powerful, I think, life hack that we're sharing today about how to rise above suffering. So let's go ahead and look at it.
I tell you, I am constantly respecting your existence as life. With these plants, the same thing. I just respected their existence. I never did anything else, but before sitting in the seat every day, I bow down to all of them. I do not have an idea they are some way lower. I just feel I am sitting with a group of people. If a group of people are sitting next to me, how I will feel? That is exactly the way I am feeling. The way I respond to your existence the same way I responded to their existence. For human beings, the way of responding to their existence is blessing them or healing them or asking their problems and giving some solution or consolation, courage. For these plants, just a good look. Look from the eyes which is respecting their life is enough for them to beautifully expand and celebrate, love their own existence. Love their own existence, understand? And one good thing with the plants, you don't need to train them. They don't have SDHD. They don't have the exploiting mentality. They don't have the exploiting tendency. They do not have something which is not them as part of them. With human beings, they internalize something which is not them as part of them. So you will have to separate that and show them what they are. And I tell you, the moment I show what is you, you will just fall in love with you. The Mahadeva component of you, which fulfills whatever you want, which gives so much of feeling good about you, is real you. Please understand, all of you have the Mahadeva component of you. Which makes you feel so good about you. Sometimes people say, no, I think I never saw that part. I don't think I have that. I think when I came down, I left that in KAILASA and came down. Or after I came here, it got it parceled. Somebody stolen it. No. Nainan chindandi sastrani nainan dagati pavakaha. No one can cut it and take it away from you. No one can burn it and take it away from you. All of us have the Mahadeva component in us. Which gives how much ever you deny, you do catch the glimpse of that. You do experience it. You can go on denying. No. That and all is not there. Unnecessarily, why should I imagine and create mess? No. You can go on denying. See, for example, if I deny the existence of these plants and did not revere them, respect them for their existence, nothing. They may not have grown. They would have just had their usual growth. But the moment I respect their existence, they also respect their existence. The moment I respect you as a sannyasi, the enlightened being, the Mahadeva's embodiment, Shiva Gana, you also start respecting you. When you know the Mahadeva component in you is still active, active, alive, it has not expired. You fall in love with you. I tell you, falling in love with yourself is the only way to keep Nityotsaha, Nitya Utsaha, eternal excitement. Nothing else can give you eternal excitement. Even if you fall in love with me, I'll push that love back on you, telling fall in love with your component of me, your component of Mahadeva. When you fall in love with me, you fall in love with my component of Mahadeva. Even that can be denied by your mind after some time with the mind game, play and all that. But fall in love with your component of Mahadeva, which is eternal excitement, inspiration, Nityotsaha, Nitya Utsaha. I tell you, the person who has touched the eternal excitement about himself, only he will have beyond logic tolerance.
Yes, beautifully. I think the last statement is what we should beautifully come to the conclusion in this beautiful session here with all of you. Just a person who has touched that Mahadeva component, that consciousness, that deep under themselves, that they are consciousness. When they touch that, they'll have, and that is what we want. Actually, we feel it is also is logical to keep sufferings from our past to come back and keep them alive, keep them as high resolution pictures that we should cherish, and I think it's a big lesson we need to learn from. And all of these ways we exaggerate about the past and make them into something that doesn't need, and in that way also bring the suffering again and again into our lives. But this logic is not something that we need to prescribe to at all, so subscribe to at all. All we need to do is really understand we are consciousness, we are Paramashiva, and the way to do that in this today, actually you can have it done, is by attending the darshan of the Paramashivam program. Join the Paramashivam program and go in, put yourself into the Zoom rooms where you can directly interact with Swamiji and ask him your prayer or question or anything that you want healed and get the answers, and really start your relationship with Swamiji. And that is one of the beautiful things that is happening in the Paramashivam Darshans that is happening today evening at 8 p.m. So gather, everyone, gather yourself and get ready for the darshan today. Beautifully, the darshan and the blessings and the initiations to help us go beyond suffering and understand our true nature as consciousness really empowers. And I think many of us who feel immediate effects immediately that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is directly solving things in my life, directly healing me out of things in my life, it is because he's really growing the Paramashiva that is there inside of us. That very component of Paramashiva that is there, that he is being raised inside of us. We are awakening the inner Guru, the consciousness inside of us. And when this happens, all the beautiful benefits, clarity in our lives, to be able to move out of boredom, because boredom gives us just a weight and shows the whole past as a weight, and we're just afraid to move even an inch just because we feel we'll get bored, we'll not be able to experience joy or anything. I think many of us go through loops and loops to understand that this is one of the source problems in our lives when it comes to boredom and fear, and how laziness also is associated with it. But when we raise ourselves and recognize that we are Paramashiva, so the comments also are going on. I also want to know if anybody was able to find the verse, actually from the verse, the beautiful verse that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shared in this satsang. is actually from the second chapter, the Sankhya Yoga of Bhagavad Gita, where he sings Nainam Chindanti Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Bhavaha, Naklebhyas Shoshayant Yapo, Nashoshayati Marutaha. Beautifully, Bhagavan Sri Krishna shares that the weapons do not cleave the self, fire does not burn it, or air does not dry it, nothing can touch the consciousness that is there, and that is the identity that we want. And with this powerful cognition or powerful initiation in itself, let us move beyond all logical things of associating our sufferings with anything, and really move beyond and rise above suffering in our lives. So with this, thank you all for joining today's session, and beautifully everyone in the comment section, thank you Nithyanandam, and it's a beautiful conversation you had. Beautifully, I had personally so many clicks and understandings from your sharings, and also I hope with the way that we were able to have the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism videos shown, he explained some of the powerful life hacks that we have more solutions for ourselves and even for those all around us. So thank you all for joining this session. Don't miss the one more session that we'll be having today evening, preparing ourselves for the live darshan, and absolutely don't plan on missing today's night's darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's today on this day of the Paramashivam program. So with this, thank you all for joining, and we will conclude with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavat Sri Nithyananda Paramashiva Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam.
Violent weekend across the country. There were several mass shootings, including 2 here in California.
Rate rises, inflation, the war in Ukraine, and the end of COVID have created a unique set of financial challenges.
A recent HHS government health survey found that nearly half of young adults 18 to 25 had experienced either substance use or mental health disorder during the height of the pandemic.
And visualize yourself as Sage Vashishta. Gaze to the nose, visualize Swamiji in your inner space, and perform the Mula Bandha as you do so.
Nithyanandam, everybody. We welcome each and every one of the viewers who are sitting with us from all over the world for today's yet another powerful session. Followed by the very special darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism.
For these 4 months, I am making the whole Mahaparamashivam program completely free of cost. The program, which will cost $21,000, will be free for everyone till 24th October 2023.